got a fuel leak here on MC5 we're looking at, and it looks like it's possibly coming out of the pump. No matter what, if the pump comes out, all these hoses are going to be replaced. But I don't want to replace the hoses to find out we are leaking at the pump, and it's only doing it when it's warmed up. So I'm going to get the bus started and running here. I've got a drip tray underneath it to catch any fuel we lose. And we'll get the inspection camera out. We'll be watching under there. I don't want to get my head in there because once it's running, it's an MCI, this belt's going to be spinning. I don't want my head near it. But we're going to try to see if I can get my phone back in there a little bit. You can see right there under the fuel pump there, that line is wet. But it's all the way around it, so I'm not really sure that it's that line. I think it's the fuel pump. If it is the fuel pump, I don't want to take the bus out of service until I have a fuel pump here and ready to get swapped. I don't like taking parts out because right now there are two buses inside. This one, our bus, and another one. So even if it's dripping, it's movable. I can move around the parking lot. Sorry, the wind's picking up. We got a storm that's supposed to be coming in here, so I'm trying to get this diagnosed before the storm starts so I know what parts need ordered for it. We also figured out the charging system problem on it. We are losing signal out of the voltage regulator here to the field circuit. I need to double check the wiring diagram, but from what I've seen, this is the start of the field circuit for the generator or alternator. So running down the road, when we lose charging, this is ground, field circuit, positive. Between the two, we have battery voltage. Between these two, we should have power to the circuit. So when it's running, it's 24 volt bus. This will be about 28 volts. This is about 25 by the time it powers the relay, which this, from what I can tell by the wiring diagrams, so it's feeding the relay in there, which then is feeding that alternator. So we're losing it here. We still seem to have a decent continuity between here and ground, and I've shaken the wire here. I mean, that's not the prettiest looking ground, but it is still working. And I wanted to clean these terminals, but I mean, you can see they're not the best. But I really don't like taking stuff like this apart if I don't have to, because I mean, if it is still passing a decent current, I don't want to risk breaking something off on a part that might be hard to source. Whoops. That's why we don't leave our hand in there. Anyway, so I'm gonna get a hold of Luke, a USA coach, and see about finding one of these regulators. If he can't, we'll start looking for a different one. But I'd like to try to put the same one back in there so there's no retrofitting or anything done like that. And then we've got that little bit of a fuel leak to take care of. And then I think this bus is going to be good to go. We've given it a few good road trials. And those are the only two problems that have popped up. The charging problem we've been working on for a little bit here. This fuel problem came up on the last drive. So after that, this one should be back in service. Miss Budweiser got a few good drives this weekend. Everything's good to go on that bus. It's ready to go. Then once I get both of these done, when the rain starts coming down today, I'm going to hop back in the shop on the MC8 and get back to work on taking stuff apart on the MC8. The MC8's, I think, 3 or 4 months right now out from being on the road. So it's not taking priority. But this one is so close to being put in service, this is going to take priority. I've got the camera down in there, and I'm watching right there, the bottom of the pump. And it's pretty damp. It looks clean around that edge right there. So I'm just waiting until I can see a drip come out of it, but I'm pretty confident it's the pump that's leaking. Alright, so I finally got the MC5 maintenance manual and found the charging circuit for it. So when I was testing going down the road, we were losing our field signal out of the regulator. The field relay was not tripping. I was able to manually apply power to the field relay on the circuit that should be coming from the over voltage relay, and that's when the bus was charging again. Now at night when we were driving, I was noticing the lights were surging on it, and looking at it, it's charging like 28 to 29 volts, 24 volt system. So I think our over voltage relay is kicking it off. I want to read up here a little bit and see what's supposed to be resetting these, because if we shut the power to the bus off and restart it, it'll charge again for a while. So I need to see how the over voltage relay resets, or if it's supposed to be self-resetting. And then if that's not it, next thing up, I'm going to go check all my grounds and stuff, make sure they're good, because I know that I have not the greatest ground coming off of right here, and this is actually grounding in 2 different points, which I can see one of them inside of there. I need to figure out where the other one goes to. But I'm happy I finally found this, because with the wiring diagram, you know, we can fix any electrical problem. It just sucks not having it, because I didn't know what was feeding the field relay. And I need to see stuff like that to be able to tell where I need to go next in my diag. So I'm going to do a little more reading here and see what we find. Now I found the overvoltage relay, and it will trip if it hits 32 volts, and it is not self-resetting. We need to turn the master switch on and off to get it to reset. So that answers that question. So we are getting a trip of the overvoltage relay because the bus is overcharging. So now we need to discover why it's overcharging. All right, so we have no issue. We are charging right now. And we just lost charging there. So it just hit over voltage and it killed it. So this is the on-off switch for the bus. And now it's reset the overvoltage regulator. So we are hitting an overvoltage situation where we're charging too high and it's kicking power off to the bus. So the charging system's protecting itself. It's working correctly. So the first time you drive it down the road and you get it up to the governor, it's overcharging, because I'll get it again here. I'm going to go to the floor with this thing, take it right up to the governor, and we'll watch what it's charging at. There it went. No gen. It didn't do it the first time, but it did it the second time. So holding it at high RPM doesn't do it. You need to literally take it right up to the governor for that to be a problem. Now I can recreate the problem consistently, though. That's the next thing with an intermittent electrical problem. If you can figure out how to recreate it, I can fix it. So now that I know that I can recreate our charging problem on here, now I need to figure out why it's trying to charge at too high of a voltage. I'm starting to go through the grounds now to check our overcharging problem here. These are the grounds at the voltage regulator. And that's going up to right there. So we're going to clean these couple grounds up because I can see them. I know that we have a problem here. I'm going to check and clean the ground from the engine to the body. It's on the other side of the bus. And we're going to go from there. But just with how bad these grounds are, I know that can be causing our overcharging problem. I know it's a problem. So we're going to start by cleaning all that up. So while I'm in the box here, I cleaned up that ground the best I can. I don't know if there's a reason that it's grounding to the mounting tab, so I'm going to try to leave it there. I cleaned out underneath of it. I cleaned the washers up. Cleaned up the ground. I'm working on the field right now. I got both sides of it cleaned up the terminal. So I got to do the positive two. If I'm in here and I'm doing them, I'm just going to do them all. And then we'll move to the engine ground. Then we'll fire it back up and see if this made any difference. That's actually about the best looking one yet. Got all the grounds cleaned. We cleaned the one that goes from the alternator to the body. We cleaned the back of the alternator over. Cleaned the ground from the powertrain to the cradle. Everything's done. We're still getting the overcharging and some weird voltage spikes. So we came back to the voltage regulator again. You can actually adjust it. And it's the smallest movements on this thing. We're doing all kinds of strange stuff on the front of the bus. And as far as I can tell, everything that's going on with it is coming out of this voltage regulator. So Lance has a line on a new one. We're going to get one put in it. That should fix our charging problem. Is even, holding it at like 1600 RPM, nice and steady, it's jumping 2-3 volts across the board. If take the bus from idle and just nail the throttle real quick and bring it up. And we're spiking 32 volts is where it releases the field terminal from that non-resettable relay back there. Well, not self-resetting it, shut the bus off. So 24 volt system, we're hitting 32 volts when you bring it up. And with the intermittence of the problem going down the road, you can reset it and sometimes go all night and it'll never come back. But it always happens in the first little bit of the drive. And then, like I said, other times you're good all night. The lights won't surge, you won't get the voltage spikes. It's intermittent, and right now it's acting up pretty good, but I'm pretty confident that we have a bad voltage regulator in it. So we're gonna get one of those coming for it. Like I said, we diagnosed a fuel leak today. Lance is gonna get a pump coming for it. When he gets the pump put on, whenever night he takes it off, we'll get new hoses made up. But we need to move this thing right now, so it's not gonna come apart right this minute. So I'm gonna get some stuff cleaned up. I think Dad is almost done with the Eagle in there. So I believe tomorrow we're hitting the road and hitting the next job. So Miss Budweiser and the 5, other than getting the regulator put on the fuel pump, which Lance is gonna do while we're gone, they're both in service, they're ready to go. Everything else on these has been taken care of. They're wiring up the generator and this thing today and tomorrow. Interiors are done. Like I said, next up over there is the 8 to get going.